Bhushan, once you visit Oman and you see how
I think you need to have a lot of self-awareness.
And the biggest challenge is that people actually are self-doubting.
So I had the opportunity to practice 4 times every week on school time.
The motto is not to be the first Indian or the best Indian.
I do 70% of my sessions for preparing on my strength.
Bhushan, keep
Yes.
the Sports Champ magazine going because you inspire all of us in school.
That when I played first time for India, it was at the age of 20.
The other thing that's also helped me greatly is like the yoga.
I don't think any sportsman can achieve anything without family support.
Hard work plus courage is equal to champion.
Try to work something on the brand you have.
Strong grassroots training system. I think that will really help our generation.
That, if I can walk around, if I can run around like a normal person, I might as well drive it like a normal person.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sport Champ live talk show. I am Bhushan Thakur, founder and editor-in-chief of Sport Champ, a sports education magazine, and your host for today's live talk show. We are happy to start an exclusive series on Indian sports schools where I'll be having the privilege and honor to interact with top educationists of India who are promoting sports at the grassroots level, their visions, method, uniqueness, which are inspiring many, and we are hopeful that this exclusive series on Indian sports schools will guide and inspire many educational institutions across India to know the ways and methods applied by top educationists to promote sports at the school level. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Mrs.Jayshree Venkatraman. She is a veteran educationist from Pune. She has contributed to the field of education for over 30 years. She has worked with varied education boards across varied roles. She was invited twice to UK and once to Dubai in recognition to her leadership role that she anchored in leading schools of the city. She has been invited twice by Times of India to be their guest editor for their NIE newspaper. She has contributed to the course content of education management of the Hyderabad University. She is currently the principal of SNBP International School and an academic director of SNBP World School, Pune. She holds a graduate degree in science and education and a postgraduate degree in English and management. She also holds a diploma in Hindustani classical music. She has been a passionate educator who constantly ruminates over her work through her poems. She dabbles in poetic verses which reflect her passion and commitment to school education. She is a great orator and a motivational speaker. She is also a master trainer for CBSE on gender sensitivity, classroom management, life skills, and English code. She has authored a book titled Your GPS, Your Global Positioning Script, a navigator to your own true self, and co-authored Parvarish, a book on parenting. She aspires to pen many more books in future. She has conceptualized textbooks based on NEP for class 1, and these have got published by GMAPS. Welcome to the show, Jayshree ma'am, and thank you for accepting my invitation.
Totally my pleasure and an honor to be here.
Ma'am, what do you think about this Sport Champ platform which has started exclusive series on Indian sports schools?
I think it is so amazing. It's just about the right mix of articulation with sports, like your leg speaks while you are able to articulate, and it's a very, very rare combination. So I congratulate you for this, because most less speakers or less articulate, they write very less, but it's very rare that I see any sport person getting into editing magazines. So it's so amazing that Mr. Bhushan, you have taken upon yourself to kind of bring forth this kind of wonderful magazine, and also this particular talk series on every weekend.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. And we start with a show with a brainstorming session question. So I have one question for you is, if you have a body of a human and head of an animal, which animal would you pick and why?
Horse.
Okay. And why?
For its speed, for its alertness, and for the fact that it never would want to sit down, always on its toes.
Fantastic, ma'am. And if I reverse this question, if you have a head of a human and body of an animal, which animal would you pick and why?
Okay. Then possibly it would be a lion.
Okay.
Because that has possibly the power of controlling and influencing.
Okay. Ma'am, tell us about this, your book, Your GPS, Your Global Positioning Script. What is this book is all about?
Yeah, I realized over a period of time, I have been seeing our children getting kind of influenced by their peer group to get into courses which are possibly not meant for them. They make wrong choices of career, and then post completing the course they realize, or possibly once they are in job, they realize that they made a wrong decision of taking up that program while they were meant to do something else. So and it is such a loss to their own selves and also a national loss, right? I think everyone is destined to be in the right place. I mean, I think we are all keys to different locks. So if that kind of an alignment happens where, I am able to unlock my career, I think I can have the best of two worlds. Like, I wouldn't want to look for a vacation, when I'm at my workplace. So I think I dream of a country wherein every student knows where his skill sets lie, where his talent lies, and what he is meant to do in life. So basically, this book was meant to guide children to take up right career paths.
Fantastic vision, ma'am, and also a fantastic name given to it, which is Your Global Positioning. It's a fantastic name, ma'am.
Yeah,
and
thank
if
you,
someone
thank you.
wishes, if someone wishes to purchase this, where can they find it?
No, they need not purchase. They could actually come to school and collect it from the school.
Fantastic, ma'am. I'll do that. I'll be the first one to do that.
Please, sir.
Ma'am, tell us something about your connection with sports. Have you played any sport or has some liking towards sports?
I have been a great athlete during my school time, and I was also a sports captain of my school.
Okay.
But there was something very interesting, when I was in school, and little did I realize that I had a challenge. While I was a very good athlete, I kind of took a back seat when it was ball games. And I always wondered, why was it that ball games made me intimidated? I wasn't able to do well with ball games. Though I was a great athlete, I was very alert, very active on the sports ground. It was much, much later. In fact, very recently, my maximum 10 years back, it dawned to me that I have something called a parallax vision, which possibly doesn't help me to, especially when there is a object which doesn't have a base. Possibly an object here, I may see it here somewhere. So which is making, and this I wish my sports teacher had found out for me, and possibly that could have been a corrective measure then. But I wouldn't know, Mr. Bhushan, whether even now anything like that is being checked with the children and we are able to do it.
Ma'am, there are ways to identify, or in sports nowadays it is said, and even in the previous years also it used to be said that you should play the sport. You should not play the sport which you like, which you are meant for. Now, when you said what you are meant for, then there are certain parameters which you need to go through, where you identify which sport you are meant for.
Right.
Like, suppose you are not meant for ball games, but if you would have gone through certain parameters, their identification could have been done that you are meant for some other sports. So as there are two type of sports, body touch sports and non-body touch sports, so those identification could have been done. So this is very important for the youngsters to know that there are parameters by which you can identify.
Right.
So I think that can guide many.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, what according to you are the fundamental benefit of sports to any child, and why someone should play sports according to you?
I think sports, one is it brings joy to yourself. Like it is beyond gender, whether it's a girl or a boy, everyone wants to be on the sports ground. If I want to kind of tell a child that if on non-completion of his assignment, he is going to be deprived of his sports period, then mark my words, there would be no child, not getting his assignment complete. Okay, I think everyone loves the sport. I mean, everyone loves to be on the sports ground. Having said that, there are so many things that sports teaches which possibly no other activity teaches. Which is one is to accept failure with grace. It is something and also declare and applaud for the winner. When you are on the sports ground, the way children applaud the best runner or the best wicket getter or the best bowler, I don't see that happening in a classroom with children getting highest scores or the first ranker. So there is a clear mark difference. There is a magic about sports, and it kind of develops resilience. It develops teamwork. Okay, there are so many things that happens on a sports ground. It is just unthinkable. So when you are talking about SNBP promoting sports and the school being looked upon as a school which nurtures sports, I would actually say it nurtures values, because sports nurtures values as possibly no other activity.
Correct.
And I have seen this very, very closely. Moreover, even the sports teachers, a sports teacher, the way he can see the emotional, physical, psychological well-being of a student, I doubt whether an academic teacher can see it as much. The way the child runs on the sports ground, I have seen some sports teachers pointing out that you didn't drink a morning glass of milk today. I know for certain.
Correct.
So that kind of an understanding, I wouldn't know whether an English teacher or a maths teacher can do that, because children are sedentary in their seats. A teacher may not be able to find out that.
Correct. So, as in sports, it is said that sports teaches you acceptance of defeat and, more importantly, preparation to win. So these two are the major ingredients which you learn from sport, and it helps you in your personal life too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Ma'am, as we all know that school plays a very important role in shaping child life, and sports plays a very integral role in the same. So what role does SNBP has designed to promote sports among every child in your school, which can guide many educational institutions across India?
Yes, I think SNBP is an amazing school to be in, because we promote sports. I'm yet to see a school. I have not come across a school which has 25 sports teachers in its campus. Okay, where you have teacher for wall climbing, you have some teachers for yoga, you have some teachers for karate, you have some teachers for kickboxing. Then there are, of course, football coaches, and you have cricket coaches. It is amazing, because basically sport, I think more often than not, gets mistaken for fitness program, which I want to kind of exhort here to all viewers. Please don't spoil, this activity as a fitness activity, because it would possibly deprive the child of the joy of being on the sports ground. And when you kind of give a plethora, I think Mr. Bhushan just mentioned that every child is cut out for a different game. So when a sports teacher is seeing a child good in sports, possibly he has a keen eye to know whether that child is suited for wall climbing or for football or for cricket. So I think that kind of an expertise only that expert eye can give, see, and guide the child in future. So having so many activities is only giving our children that kind of an exposure, for which I feel absolutely delighted to share here on this platform.
I was, as a sports person, ma'am, I was very much impressed when I entered your school by seeing sports people pictures at the front gate and the entry. So that was something which was very unique in all the schools which I have visited. So which shows that you support sports from the beginning.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, ma'am, what as per recent announcement by our Prime Minister, where he has announced sports to be a part of the mainstream in all schools of India, do you think this will bring some change?
Absolutely,
India?
absolutely. I think one is, but like I said again, more often than not, because it is being a compulsory activity, most of the schools are getting into making it a fitness program.
Correct.
Okay, that is where the challenge is, because not all schools can possibly even afford to have as many sports teachers. And fitness, having a fitness activity across the school becomes comparatively an easier exercise.
Correct. So, ma'am, during the what according to you are the problems faced during promoting sports among the students, and what is the lacuna of many not pursuing sports as a career?
I had a very, very interesting discussion the other day with the national wrestler. Okay, it was Bharat Liman. He had to say that because he's a wrestler, he said people generally believe that it is lack of intellect which possibly gets you onto the akhadas, wrestlers akhada. Whereas it is so different because it requires so much of alertness. You need to be knowing as to how would your rival kind of respond to one kick as compared to the other punch. So he said it is so wrong perception of people that people with lesser intellect get into sports. But I think, Mr. Bhushan, you are an amazing example to set. Okay, when you are into writing, you are into editing, you are into guiding. And then there is another challenge that I feel, which I want your support to overcome, that even communication skills of sports teachers kind of lack a little, and they are not able to promote themselves. They're so good at their work, but it is so unfortunate that they are not able to promote themselves. And more often than not, parents in general are not inspired, or they wouldn't want their children to be inspired by somebody like that. So I feel that is where is the gap, because when we talk about sports, it's only about physical ability of such men, sports persons seen, but not their articulation skills. So somewhere I think we need to pitch in a bit and ensure that every sports teacher is also good in his communication skills.
That comes with the presentation skills too, the how you present yourself.
Absolutely.
So if you are able to present yourself well, and if you are able to communicate well, so I think the more students and parents will get inspired towards sports. I think that's what you are trying to say.
Absolutely true. Absolutely.
Parents plays a very important role in taking many decisions for their child. So, what synergy or you or your institutions plan to make them a part of the team and what you suggest should be done on the same?
See, luckily, off late, this set of parents that we see are much more proactive in terms of supporting students. So I see a major shift happening there. Okay, and just kind of enabling. I remember there was one girl student from my school who displayed amazing skill at on the cricket ground, and all that was required was the coach to call up the parent and say that your daughter has an X factor and which needs to be nurtured. Parents really have gone out of the way, and now she's one of the state champions. So what I mean here is, it's all about the teachers, bird's eye view, and the teacher communicating likewise to the parent, and parent taking it up, and it is happening. And I'm so glad that it is happening now as much better than what it used to be in the past.
Which is a part of the ma'am, which is called clarity on the sport journey. I have a question for you on the same line in the next one, but which is called generally as clarity on sport journey. So ma'am, I have a very important question here, which I require your inputs, which is very from an educationist to come. In China, what we have seen as a sports person and as traveling to these countries, they select a sports and they do a lot of R&D and start preparing to create champions in that sport. Does such planning and analyzing by a school is possible? On which sport school suppose in any sport, school currently have amazing infrastructure, and what best can be done to create and develop national and international players from that sport? Is it possible that school can work on that? What is your inputs on the same?
I think I agree to it to a great extent, but it needs a lot of consistent efforts, lot of focused direction, and kind of a team which is totally dedicated for that. Like SNBP has been promoting hockey. Okay, I mean, you would have heard that we have been hosting the national level hockey tournaments for under 18 at Balewadi Stadium every year, except for, of course, except we had to give it a miss last year. But we did that. Idea was to promote the national sport. But then I personally feel while we were doing that, we ourselves missed out on being consistent and rigorous in training our own students to participate in that. So, I mean, we were doing that part of it, promoting, and that was a good exercise done. But at ground level, we missed out on that, which I am so glad in accepting also our kind of lacuna here. But we are determined to take it forward, because now SNBP has its own hockey ground at Chikli. And so it's a very, very good FIFA rated hockey ground. So we would be taking our students there once we are out of this pandemic, and we would be getting into training them.
Because it is seen that every school can't have all sports facility of international structure, but at least one sport of international or national infra, if it is prepared and that is promoted across and trying to create. So that is what that method can create many champions from that one sports for that school. Other sports, yes, they can definitely get trained outside and other areas. So I think you agree with that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Ma'am, my next question is that as there are report card in studies, what do you think of having a report card system in sports, where percentages are given on various verticals, physical, technical, mental, sports performances, teamwork, and be evaluated every 6 months? So what will be your input on the same?
I can't agree with you by more than, I mean, it has been my dream. In fact, even the other day, when we were actually having children running a simple race also, I was very keen that we should time it. Instead of just saying you are first, second, third, I would prefer our children being told that you have run 100 meter in 20 seconds, 18 seconds, 16 seconds.
Correct.
So what happens is it more than first, second, third, because first, second, third limits everything. The child starts singing, I'm a great runner because I came first. That is not to do, right? I mean, once he does it in 16 seconds, his aim is to kind of run the same 100 meter in 14, 10 seconds. And kind of, so the idea is how, but we have never done it in the past. But we would definitely be doing it. And this is our plan for the future.
It will definitely bring a big change, ma'am, because whenever I interact with the educationers across India, I always feel this one thing can give a track for the players and the parents also, that my kid is developing interest in that areas. So I think if you will do this, this will be fantastic for many students and parents. My next question is, what system schools follow to upgrade their sports HODs on their skills and knowledge, and how it is being evaluated?
See, actually, we have, we've been having training programs for our sports teacher on regular basis. And as a CBSE school also, our physical education teachers undergo a lot of training. So that is happening on regular basis. And we have Mr. Firoz Sheikh, who is the Director of Physical Education for across SMBP schools, who is a national level hockey player, who has been a national level hockey player. So he also undertakes a lot of training programs for our teachers across.
So what will be you suggest to all schools across India related to this upgradation? Is that required? Is this important? What according to you will be the inputs?
No, it is critical. It is one of the need, just like we learn English and maths in our classes. I very, very strongly advocate sports as a very, very integral part of every school. In fact, generally, it is a 2 sports period is what is given in a week for a student. But I would want to have a minimum of 5 periods or 6 periods in a week, which would mean that at least the child is on the sports ground once during the day, if not more. So, and for which schools should kind of have resources to support this particular cause.
Correct. Ma'am, next 2 questions are very vital, which is important for across India. Like the first question is, many schools in India having a facility or like your institution, like it's a mini sports club. Generally, schools get over at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. and sports training generally starts at 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So if the school starts renting their sporting facilities on and off school timings to various top sports academies, so it can become a win-win situation for all schools, sports academies, and students and parents too. What do you think on the same?
No, I would definitely support that. In fact, we already have it. Like post school hours, we have sports coaching happening in the school. It goes on almost till 7 o'clock in the evening.
So it has been rented out, and
our own teachers kind of take extra coaching.
Okay, for your own students.
For our students, for our students from other schools too.
Fantastic, ma'am. So my next question is, ma'am, in studies, the journey is very clear to students, as you rightly mentioned in the last answers, that the journey is for parents is very clear, but there is very less clarity on sport journey at the grassroots or school level. So what type of sports counseling you feel are required at school level, which will provide clarity on sport journey and playing the sport for a longer period of time?
I think the best part of it could be, the guidance coming by from sports stalwarts like you. I think, we should have people like you coming to school, telling students as to what all other, allied programs can also be part of their professions.
Correct. Currently, there are more than 100 or 200 careers available in sports. But the lacuna is that students and parents are not aware about those opportunities, those management opportunities or business opportunities. So, what can be done to promote this at the school level, which can be a guidance force for all schools across India? What do you think should be done?
I think we could have a special column on Sports Champ mentioning about all this, or having interviews of such professionals also, featuring in this Sports Champ. Because that can definitely reach out to this young aspirants.
Super, ma'am. We'll definitely take. We are definitely doing that right now. Already, we have a column on that related to career in sports in Sports Magazine. And ma'am, those sports person who are currently playing at district, state, or national level are being supported by the school, which I know. So, what are the support these sports person are expecting from school, and what extra step your school have taken to support them?
See, one is, of course, we allow them to miss their academic classes to attend special training programs, so that, and then, of course, most of the times, to be very honest, I am ultimately an academician. So I tell them that this is a benchmark score that they need to give me every time in their exams, so as to continue availing that particular liberty, which I am very happy to share that my students have been doing that. So I am also very happy to give them that freedom, liberty to miss out on their academic class and go for the extra coaching. So the school has been supporting that. And then when children are required to travel outstation, and in case they need to be escorted by my teachers, then we send our teachers also to join them for various camps and for various competitions.
As what you rightly said, as an academician, an educationist, what suggestion you would like to give to bring a balance between sports and studies to all the students and parents?
Yeah, in fact, it is very wrong to say most of the times, except for one odd case wherein I found that the child was cut out exceptionally, for which I think the other day I have also referred that student to you, that this child was amazing on the ground, but in the school, in the classrooms, he looked such a misfit. Apart from that, I have always seen that students who are good in sports and are doing justice to sports in the right way are invariably good in studies also. Okay, it is just that, it's like study while you study, play while you play. And when they do it, they are able to concentrate better in their academics. So my request to students is keep that benchmark score. Say that I would kind of penalize myself, punish myself of missing out on the class if I don't get this 75%. So if you do that, from beginning, and it's not about parents having to say that to you, a principal having to say that to you. It is the promise, because ultimately life is all about making those kind of balancing acts. So start it from now. Okay, so I think then, and like I said, the best teacher is your sports ground. It teaches you everything under the sun.
So what you're rightly mentioning is you should know when to switch on and when to switch off.
Absolutely.
So when you're playing, and when you're studying. So that means you should know switch on and switch off. That will give you a right balance.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, before we log off, what would you like to address to all educationists of India, which will help them to promote sports at a school level?
Again, like I said, sports teaches much more than physical fitness, much more than the skill of the sport. It teaches so many values which possibly no other activity teaches. So, not to create Olympic champions from your school, it is not to create national sports person from your school. It is only to create good human beings, great citizens that one needs to promote sports in school. So it is not about, when we have, Mr. Bhushan says that we have plethora of activities and all that. I always felt it was definitely, the intention is not about getting the Olympics champion from my school. That would possibly never happen because they are made of a different kind and it requires different rigor altogether. So even if I want to dream of it, and if I say 20 years hence it would happen in my school, it would possibly be a too tall order that I state for myself. But when I'm saying that I'm here to create good human beings, I think the best place to have them groomed is on the sports ground under the care of the sports teachers. So please promote sports as much as you can in your schools. Parents need to encourage students to play a lot of sports, not purely for physical fitness, but just to experience the joy of it.
Very rightly put, ma'am. Through sports, or by taking the help of the sports, creating an amazing human being is what your target is through SNBP, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Super, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking
Thank
out
you so
time and
much.
agree to share your vision and mission and methods of promoting sports and sports person at your school, which will definitely guide many educationists across India. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Bhushan, for calling me here. My pleasure totally to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Dear viewers, we'll keep on bringing such insightful episodes on Indian Sports School, which will guide many educationists across India and eventually help in promoting sports and sports person at the grassroots level. Have a good evening. Thank you so much.